This past Wednesday was one of those crazy, busy days for me. I had lots planned, and yet more stuff just appeared that needed to be done. And so as I left church, the office, at about 2, went home on the way, stopping here and there, doing some chores. All I could think of is that I need to get ready for the healing service that evening. I need to get home and get those things that were left done. And I have this system which I have kind of perfected. When I turn into my street, which is a pretty short block, I immediately activate with my remote my garage door opener, so that when I turn into the driveway, I just ease into the garage, no waiting. And there is a bush right at my gate that hides the garage door, you know, from me until I'm actually turning in. And this Wednesday, as I turned into my driveway, I came to an immediate stop, because sitting in front of my garage door was this woman all bundled up in sweaters and layers on her head and bags all around her. And she actually even had a bag hanging on the garage door, which was slowly being swallowed up. So I hit that remote, and all I could think was, not today, Jesus. I don't have the time to help today, Jesus. Jesus, please don't let this be someone in need. And you can imagine, Jesus must have been up there going, really? This is need personified. But I had things to do. So I lowered the garage door, watched her scramble to get her bags, moved it over to the lawn with the chair, and she stood there, and I slowly came up, rolled down my window, and not with any sincerity, I said, "Do you need help?" And she smiled and said, "No." So I went in to the garage, closed the door behind me, got my bags from the car, went into my kitchen, and my steps were slower and slower because my heart was heavy. And I had, you know, that angel and that devil on my shoulder. You should go help. You have too many things to do. Someone else will take care of it. You really need to go help. Back and forth for a good 3-4 minutes. And then finally, I got a grocery bag and I started throwing all my snack bars in and some other things that I had. I got some money out of my wallet. I got my phone, went through the garage, opened the door, and there she was with neighbors from across the street. Now, I need to tell you, I've lived there for almost a year, and I've only waved to these neighbors. Never said anything to them. I did not know their name. But they're there talking to this woman, and I join the conversation, and I hear her story. I hear that her name is Jessie, that life has not been great for her, which of course is an understatement, that she really wants to turn it around, but the help that she was seeking, she could not get. She had a disabled son who lived with family in Brooklyn, but there was no room for her there. She was grateful that the family took her son in. She did not want to stay in Brooklyn because she said it was too dangerous on the roads of Brooklyn. It was much safer out here. And then I learned from my neighbors, whose name I now know, that they have seen Jessie before and they've been helping her. They've given her food, they've tried to connect her to services. She does not want to stay in the shelter. What she wants is a job. And of course, that's tricky. But in our time out there, I called the priest at the church right next door and found out that she too knew Jessie, and she actually had bags of things to give Jessie when she came by. And we stood there for an hour with Jessie, and then she went on her way, and we exchanged numbers, my neighbor and I. And then I went in, and even though we had not solved Jessie's problem, there was a lightness because I had taken the time to reach out. I believe that each and every day we are faced with people with needs. Big ones, little ones. Needs because of illness, needs because of relationships gone bad, needs because of resources, loss of resources, all kinds of needs. And all they want is someone to reach out. So when I read the gospel in preparation for this service and saw the Good Samaritan, it was like, this is a story that I needed to have heard when I pulled in, to have remembered when I pulled into that driveway. Because that's what it's all about. Being stripped, being beaten down, being left on the side of the road of life to die. We have all been there to various degrees. We all know other people who have been there. All we need at those times is for someone to stop, to draw near, to reach out with sympathy, with mercy, with love, with compassion, and to say sincerely, how can I help? Jesus told this story that we heard when we were children in Sunday school, that Jackson will hear over and over again, that we need to be reminded over and over again. Who is your neighbor? Your neighbor is someone in need. Your neighbor is someone in a crisis of some kind, someone who needs a hand, someone who needs to be rescued. And sometimes we don't see, but sometimes, like Jessie, they're right in front of us, and we make that decision. Do I help? Am I going to be inconvenienced? Do I dare take the risk that this is a scam? Do I endanger myself, which sometimes it happens? Or do I step out and see if I can help? Because that is what we're called to do. We are called to reach out and to help. And when Jesus tells us that it's the Samaritan who helps, it is really important because the Samaritan was the outsider of the Jewish community. They were not loved, yet they stopped. It doesn't matter who that person is. We reach out to help. And the wonderful thing about my experience with Jessie and John and Ricky and Mother Diane that morning, that afternoon, was that it was reinforced that no matter how overwhelming it might be, we do not do this work alone. The Samaritan had the innkeeper. We have each other. We might not solve everyone's problem, but we must hear Jesus' word that he said to this lawyer, go and do likewise. Amen.
Amen.